Hi, Rob here again, the 8-Bit Maniac. Today I want to show you a bit of Quigs coding and how you can use functions in code in Quigs. So quickly, let's just get into Quigs. There we are, and let's start a new project. I just need to change my output directory so it's on my USB stick, which I use with Symbos. There we go, done. Today all I want to do is two simple little functions which are maximize and minimize, which lots of languages have built in, when you just sort of take the two values and it returns either the highest or the lowest value. So let's just get in and see if we can do this, shall we? Let's click on the form, and I want two input values, so I'm going to create two little text boxes that I can change the value for. I'll shrink that down. Let's put a value of 100 in there, and a second text box. Let's put directly underneath it, and let's put a value of 200 in there. I'm also going to want two buttons to call my functions. This is button 1, which I'm just going to change the caption to say maximize, and I'm going to set a second button which will be button 2, and I'm just going to call that, the caption on that, minimize. Oop, except I can't spell. There we go. Right, well, I also want a label to show the result of calling these functions. So let's just put that down there. I'll stretch that out a bit. I'll change the paper so we can see it clearly, and the pen color. Let's center it up and change the caption so blankly it just shows nothing really. Okay, let's just tidy the form up a bit by shrinking that down. Let's change the form caption to say demo of functions. Okay, let's do the code then. So obviously we're gonna, when we click on the maximize button, we're gonna want to take the value of these two text boxes and display it in this label here. So let's click on that button first, and we'll go over the button, and on the click event we'll create a new bit of code. So there we go, in, and this is where it will jump to when we click on button. But I want to use the two functions, but they don't exist, so let's create these functions. But first, actually, because we've got two inputs, we're going to have to create two variables. Let's call them A, and that's an integer, and variable B, which is also an integer. These will be the two inputs for my functions. So let's go back to the function, maximize, and we'll call that an int because that's the output, and we have two integers as inputs. There we go, that's our entire function structure set up. We can also just note this ourselves by putting a little reminder and say function to show the maximum of two values. And if we actually click on maximize there, we can actually see below it shows the function name, the two inputs, the output type, and also the little description that we've given it as well. So, and the function is incredibly simple. We're going to take our two inputs, which A and B. If A is greater than or equal to B, then we're going to return the value A because it's the higher. Else, we're going to return the value of B. Oops, I can't type return. And finish that, that's that. And also what we want to do now is display the result. So if I go back to form, we can see that that's label 1. So I'll go back onto the code, and we're going to say label 1. We're going to set the text to be the result. but actually I've got a little function there called rset which will set the text and then refresh it. So obviously maximize returns an integer, so, and a label text is a string, so we're going to use the string, the str, to turn the integer into a string result. And we've got two inputs. Well, we've got to use the function first. Let's call maximize, but maximize has two inputs, and they would be, if we go back to form to remind ourselves, they would be these two text boxes, which are called text line 1 and text line 2. So if we go back there, let's put text line 1, and we want the text, and we want to get that text, so we want text line 2, text, get. But obviously these are also two strings, and maximize requires two integers as inputs. So we've got a little routine called cint, or convert to integer, which will convert a string to an integer. And let's just put that on the other one as well. And of course that's not very descriptive, so we can just put a little bit of a string at the start. The largest number was, and there we go, that's all we need to do. So we need to obviously do this for minimize as well, so let's go back to form, go on to the minimize button, create a bit of code for it. We can actually copy this because it's almost going to be exactly similar, so we're going to copy that. Let's call that largest will be smallest, and maximize will be minimize. I spelled that incorrectly, but also we now need to create the minimize function, which we can do exactly the same. Let's just retype that function minimize, and it's going to have an integer output and two integers input like before. I'm going to function to show the lowest value of two numbers. We're going to do if a is less than or equal to b, then turn a, else we're going to return b. I really can't type return for some reason. And that's it, basically. Okay, we should be able to compile that now. There we go. And if I drop that down, I now go into Win8, which is my emulator of choice for the CPC. I have a little shortcut here, so it comes up and it'll bring my, there we go, there's our little form that we created. And if we click on maximize, it will show the largest number is 200. Minimize, the largest number is 100. Let's just change it to check that it does work properly. 895 in that one. The maximum is 895. The minimum is now 200. So there you go. That's how functions work in Quigs. Hope you liked it. And as all YouTubers say, please like this video or subscribe if you liked the video. If you don't, then don't, because that's what it is, isn't it? That's YouTube for you. Okay, cheers.